been doing this about 7 or 8 years now, haven't we?
Well, howdy, everybody. David Gross here with Vic. Vic, we're live, so wake up there. Let's.
Okay.
Break time is over, so
Okay.
if somebody can let us know, Condé Land, if we've got good audio coming through. For
We
those
got
that
Condé Land. They're probably taking a nap too, David.
I hope not. I hope not. It is a beautiful day out there, Vic. So I want to thank everybody for joining us today. We'll give people just a few more minutes to
Okay.
get everything done, and hopefully all is good. I am actually today, Vic, in our front foyer.
Yeah.
Got a little corner here where we got all sorts of stuff out, and we're glass, so just a lot of fun. For folks that aren't familiar with these, we do these Wednesday podcasts or Wednesday webinars to help people be successful. And so a little bit of housekeeping before we get started here is please remember we've got a couple of things going on. One of them is we've got a nice coupon for $25 for folks that are placing $200 or more orders. And that coupon is CPN-RAIN. So that's Charlie Paul Newman -RAIN. And April showers. So that coupon will net you $25 off an order of $200 or more as calculated before shipping. So should be able to, zero out, of course, that shipping, maybe with a little bit left over. Another thing that should be in stock, I hope it is, and we've got a new book to recommend to you. Let me switch the camera so I can show it to you a little bit better. So this new book is 125 Ways to Make Money with Sublimation by Steve Spence, and I wrote the foreword to it. This book should be in stock here at Condé, and it's definitely in stock at Amazon as the printed version or as a Kindle. I really like this. This is just a great wake-up strategy for you to understand the opportunities that are sort of right in front of you. And I wonder if your stuff is in here. I forgot to look here. It'd be interesting to see. I know I've got you written up in my book. At any rate, great book to consider. As far as things, we live in a world where there's so many opportunities around us. So it's, as we're going to talk about with Vic, it's not enough to simply have a website and sell product. You got to get out there, promote. But I think really the best strategy is to focus on market niches, and we'll probably talk about a few of those, I would think. So, Vic, want to get back to split screen here. Vic, tell us a little bit about what we're going to do today and talk about.
Well, with iPersonalyze, we've just built a lot of websites, and we worked with a lot of people that had maybe an existing website. And, during the course of those relationships, you hear about everyone's trials and tribulations and what they're trying to do and so forth. All the different hurdles that everybody runs into. Everybody's trying to market and sell more. That's the common problem. And so, how do you succeed in doing this? And the great thing is, with sublimation, you've got that book there, David, 125 ways. Well, that's probably 1/100th of the number of ways that you can go out and sell sublimation. There's so many niches, as you say, to get into. And so today I wanted to talk about based on my past experience of being a promotional products distributor, I sold corporate programs, company stores, and this is a there's some real advantages to doing these types of things. So we're going to go through that today, David, and show folks how they can do some more B2B business and why it's good for them, you know, and the advantages and disadvantages.
So just I'm a bullet point person with a bad case of ADD. So what we're going to talk about is Vic as an architecture that can be added to websites like Shopify websites that allows you to do online, allows your clients to do online personalization of products and ordering right there. And in addition to being able to do that, the architecture allows you to fulfill the products, or it'll allow you to send that fulfillment to someone else, i.e. outsource it.
Right.
And this is not new. This has been going on for a while, and it's continued to mature. One of the new additions to helping you understand this is that we've set up a Facebook subforum on our Facebook page. It's just now beginning, and it's going to allow us to, and Vic mainly, to put resources that will help explain it to you, see it, ask questions, understand. Because, you know, the last thing we want you to do is invest in something if you're not going to make money with that resource. But also, we don't want you to invest in something unless you're going to take advantage of it. That's really the magic of sublimation. We can teach you the sublimation process in a very short time, but really the key to success is to capitalize on the resource you have. And I just turned in an article for Impressions Magazine. I think it'll be out in June. And, you know, that's what we're after. We're after helping people capitalize on investments. So, Vic, walk us through what you have.
All right, sir. I will do so. I'm going to share my screen. That should come through okay. If it doesn't, let me know.
There you go.
Okay.
I almost switched it just him.
Well, David's right. You know, with sublimation, there's so many ways to make money with it. Great products, and relatively, as far as a digital decorating process, probably one of the easier ones to work with. And so it's got everything going for it. The colors are bright, products look great. But that alone won't make you successful, because the only thing in the end that will make you successful is having money. If you're serious about being in business, is having money come into your account and keeping you in business so you can do other things with it, support your family and so forth, or maybe retire or do something part-time. Or even if you're a hobbyist and you want to do sublimation and make gifts for family and friends, you'll occasionally be selling a few things. And so where do you go? What do you do to find this niche that fits you? And what we've learned in working with, over 500 stores that we've worked with and built, and gosh, I don't know how many people we've talked to, thousands, to listen to their problems. Where do you go to find your niche? Well, there's certainly the first thing people need to do is start locally, is to look around locally, because you know, if you're starting fresh and you know, you need to look around you and find the opportunities that are closest nearby, so you can actually talk to people. You know, the idea of selling everything online and doing all this is great, and it's new, but it's complicated, it's expensive, it can be. Certainly being able to sell face to face and talking to people is something, you know, you need to be comfortable doing, and explaining to them what you have, showing them samples and so forth. But I came from a background, I was in the promotional products industry with Staples Promotional Products and American Identity. They purchased us, and I sold corporate programs, and that is classic B2B business. And so that's what we're going to talk about today, and about how that kind of business can really help you build a real foundation for your business to get you where you need to be. But first, what I want to do is I want to kind of go through, make sure we're all understand some key terms here. I've learned by doing these webinars that frequently I make the assumption that everybody knows what these little words are and phrases that we use every day, but you need to explain them for the benefit of folks that don't have that opportunity to hear them every day. So B2B is simply business to business, selling the product directly to an organization with their company logo, or to their employees, or to their dealers or their distributors. That's really all it comes down to. Usually it is just a corporate logo. It may have another graphic on there for an event that they're having. Occasionally it will have somebody's name. Certainly if it's an awards or a recognition gift, then it will have somebody's name on it, the date and so forth. But that's just basic B2B business. B2C, on the other hand, is what I think most folks that get into the sublimation business gravitate toward, and that is doing personalized or customized gifts. And they're selling those usually, again, to their family, friends, and to consumers. And a lot of times folks will get in there and they'll get a website, and they'll, the classic mistake I tell them not to make, but they're always know better, is they want to have 500 products and they want to market them all out. They want to basically go out there and compete with Amazon with all these products. And I try to talk them down and say, look, what sells right now is a product with a great graphic on it, a product that just looks great, and the product is what they need, or they want to give that it's hot right now. It looks great, and that you're not really going to compete with Amazon. You need to just get you 10, 15, 20 products that look great and that you can market locally. I mean, if you're in a tourist town, we'll market to those folks that are coming through there. You see on the screen, we talk about B2C is Etsy. Because that's exactly who you're selling to. You're selling to consumers, and actually Etsy in that case is doing the selling for you. And while I do websites and we do personalization, I have no problem with Etsy. I think it's a good place for a lot of people to start and to test their product ideas, and that's an important key.
Yeah, let me jump in here, Vic. One of the things that I tell all our clients to do, whatever business they think they're in, is to get in the wholesale fulfillment business by partnering with a local pet groomer.
Oh yeah.
Pet grooming is just a great way. So literally you could have a website for the pet groomer to place orders.
Right.
And so
exactly.
The client would come in, you'd get their photograph, whether it be digital or otherwise, and place the order. Pet grooming is a dull business, and about the most exciting thing that happens in a pet grooming business, a dog bites somebody, But they're not taking their dog to the pet groomer because they have to. They're taking it because they want to spend the money. They want their pet to look nice. So today, pick out your pet groomer, maybe put together a collection of pet-related products. But remember that most of the products that people want to buy at a pet groomer are for themselves. It could be a phone stand, could be a mouse pad, but make that deal with the pet groomer. Great business. Number two, that is easily done through Vic's website architecture, is get into fundraising through an organization. Bring up a website for that organization. Could be themed products. It could be products that already are fixed, but do have a area for personalization.
And one good thing about business orders like that, David, is that when you're selling just to the consumer market, they're going to buy a gift for that occasion or for Christmas or anniversary or whatever, and that's done. When you're doing B2B, it's recurring, and that's one reason I think this corporate B2B business is really good foundation for people to build their business on. If they can get a company to let them do a website for them, that's great. But just establishing a relationship with like a pet groomer, and I'll show you in a minute some stores that we did for closing gifts for realtors.
Oh, great business, especially
Oh
with
yeah,
the market it is. So on the fundraising stuff, you need to scope out those organizations to find out when their cycle is, when their events are, and figure out when it's appropriate to get the organization to push them to a website to order. But also, make sure you're part of whatever events. I think many organizations will actually have physical events this year, and you can be a part of those. But for those that don't, make sure you're plugged into them.
and everybody's got companies locally. And you can learn, if you think about it enough, you can look at those companies and go, well, what does that company do? Well, it's a manufacturing company. They've got 200 employees back there in the plant. So, those people are going to be doing maybe uniforms, maybe shirts, maybe name badges. They may do awards and recognition. But that is good recurring business that you can build a base on. And so when you start looking around your local area, just understand that when there's just a lot of opportunities just near you. Schools, nonprofits certainly are always looking for ways to raise revenues. One of the couple of key terms, company stores and corporate programs, they are exactly the same. When I started in the promo business, they weren't exactly, but they are now. Print on demand, everybody knows what that is. It's basically what sublimators do anyway. They print when they get an order, mostly. They rarely put it into stock. If they're going to put something into stock, usually they're screen printing or something like that, doing a long run. Sublimation is typically short runs.
So if you have a store, you can add whatever products you want, right?
Oh, absolutely. Any kind you want, you should be able to, if it makes sense. If you're doing a little volume, you might want to do some screen printing on it and put those in stock. And it makes more sense to print up a bunch of them if you know you're going to sell them. The point is to avoid what you can do. What's new and different about this, and I'll get into this in a minute, is that what's new and different is that my screen's not moving on me. I wonder why that is. I'm hung up here, David. Oh, company stores. Hold on here a second, David. Let me back up. What's new and different is that print on demand, digital printing allows you not to have a corporate program or for a company without having inventory. Okay. Now, and in my day, we always had inventory. And I'll tell you a story in a minute about that. But it also, when you have a company store with people, and you've got their logo, and whenever they have events come up during the year, if you stay in touch with them, you're going to be right there in the front of the line when they want to place that big order for 1,000 shirts or 500 of this or 700 of that. You're going to be the person there that they're going to call because they're used to working with you because you took care of their store, and that's a big advantage. So you get recurring orders. Basically, you set up the store. We used to say that I had 30 of these at one point in time, going at one time, about $3.5 million, as I recall. It was the best year I ever had. But you would go in there once a year and decide on what products, and then, usually it renewed over and over again. Year after year, we changed the products up. But now they do not have to be inventory, which is just a huge advantage. That you don't have to go into that cost with them. With inventory company stores, you got we used to put millions of dollars worth of printed products on a shelf when I was with Staples. The story I like to tell is about with American Airlines, and I went in there after 9/11, about 2 weeks after 9/11 was going to renew their program, and on $1 million program like that, we would put $200,000 to $300,000 worth of products printed with American Airlines logo on the shelf for them, ready to go out the next day when the marketing people or employees or whoever ordered online and sent an order in. Well, you don't have to. When I walked in there that time, they looked at me and said, "Look, we're nearly bankrupt, and we are not going to sign for inventory anymore. We can't afford to do it. If you want our business, you need to just suck it up, take it or leave it. So we did. And that was the beginning of the end for me with inventory programs. That's when I started looking at print on demand, digital printing, and of course sublimation is one of the best ones possible that you could ever get into for that. So, and again, why company stores? Well, once you have their logo, it's consistent. Orders will be coming in. You don't have to be running around looking for orders all the time. And it's really relatively simple. It's just usually their logo. You know what it is. It's over and over again the same thing. So that's a real time saver versus.
So you add the product that they want to buy to your store.
Yep.
You customize the product with their logo, so it's presented as could be for a spirit store, could be for a foundation or a business, and then you define fields on the product that are for variable data, like they can type their name or position or whatever, or could be a license plate, if you will. And then it's on the website. They're going to go to the website. They're going to buy the product, and then, of course, if it's a nonprofit or for fundraising, then some of that inventory, some of that revenue is going to go back to the organization. Is that a feature that's built into your app?
Yes, sir. It is. It is, and it's just this is just the way it's going forward. Is having customers, B2B and B2C, go in online, see what they're buying. If they're uploading an image, or they're putting some text on it, even underneath the logo, or they're changing a logo. And I'm going to show you a company store in a minute where we set up 6 different logos for employees to go in and select the one they want, because the company had 6 different divisions. And so we set it up where they could pick whichever one they wanted, and it pops on there. But that's the extent of their options, and so it makes it simple for everybody. There's one negative I want to bring up that can come up if you're going after these company stores, is that you obviously are printing on demand, and a lot of times it's good to say that it's going to take you 3 days, 2-3 days to get it produced and shipped. A lot of the old promo programs where they are actually printing long runs and putting stuff on the shelf, those are slowly dying off, but they're still out there. They'll say they ship the next day. Well, you might want to say that if you have a print-on-demand company store doing sublimation, but you may want to give yourself a little more time. I have never found this to be a deal killer. I've always found it to be something to say, well, the trade-off is that there's no inventory commitment. Nobody's taking a risk on a bunch of inventory that won't sell. So that's how you handle that.
But your app produces a print-ready file.
Oh yes, we let them see it, and we produce the artwork so that the artwork's done.
So all you're doing is downloading the artwork, printing it, and pressing it, and then you're ready to ship it. That's
correct. And that everything's about saving time and making it easy. If you don't have to go and resize the artwork, and you don't have to, the artwork's going to fit whatever product they ordered. It's going to be there exactly. That's a key part of doing this, is making sure that when we set it up, that you don't give them more options than they need, because if you give them too many, it confuses people. Just give them what they need, and let them go with it. For instance, on these name badges, for instance, like the specialty name badge, they've got a logo here, but they just allow somebody to put in their name, okay? And that's all they really need to do. But they're able to look at it online, see that it's right, and then place the order, and then the order will come through, and then or if you're doing the fulfillment on these, you have the artwork there. It's exactly the way you want it. It fits right in there, right in the image area. It's perfect. You print it, and you're done. It saves you a lot of time.
Awesome.
Doing that. So that's a key part to it. There's all kinds of stores. There's B2B employee stores. I did one for Citgo years ago. I'm going to jump off here just a second. I'm going to go to another screen here, and I'm going to show you a few stores that we have. Here's one that's really cute. It's called Custom Strength Swag. This is for an ASI distributor that does it for this company. You may remember the book called Custom Strengths, where you read this book and you find out what your 5 key custom strengths are. And so they wanted, and even to this day, they've sold about 15 million of those books. And it's a self-help book. And they have about 15 million people out there that read the book, but they have a couple thousand trainers that will actually hold classes and help people go through it and learn this about themselves. So what they wanted, the trainers wanted, and the people that have read this book and that are going through this program wanted to have products that they could put their 5 key strengths on. So this is what we built for them. This is a Shopify store, and they would go here and they hit personalize, and it'll pop up that product. And you see here it's got strength number 1, and they wanted, again, we want to keep this simple. I'm going to put David Gross up here. And his
so do you need a different Shopify store for each sub store?
Not necessarily. If you want a separate domain name, if they're a big company, they're going to want their own domain name. They don't want to share that would be required. But you can put a different company's products into a category at the top of the website.
So you could have one Shopify store, and it could be like customstore.com/Vic or something.
Yeah, you can have some subcategories there of that. It's just there's only one domain name. So again, you see here where I put those 5 things in about David, and there it is. They can actually see it, and they can check out and buy it. But there's lots of opportunities, lots of other places to go. Nurses, first responders. You can go to the fire station or the fire department in your town, and golly, they're always buying stuff. We did this store several years ago for a group. Pets. This is we did this for our lab rescue group that rescued labs and tried to raise funds for labs.
So again, this is a Shopify store.
No, this was an older store. This one's actually not in Shopify. We don't build anything else except in Shopify right now.
Yeah, but you in the past you used other, but now it's all Shopify, and so
yeah, it's all Shopify.
They're gonna choose the products they want, and if they're blank products, they're good to go.
Right.
Like this is a blank product, and they just start designing any way they want.
They can do anything they want to do with it. Absolutely. Here's another store that we did, another fundraiser type thing for a rescue store for pets. I'd say the pet business is about a $60 billion a year industry now, and it grows about 5 or 6% every year. And it's just,
So contacting your local rescue shelters would be a stroke of genius, because they're always looking for ways to make money to support their efforts. And you sign them up, and they'll promote it, and you give them a cut of the profit. Is there any general rules for if you're working through, say, a rescue shelter, what % of the profits would go to them?
Well, it is kind of all over the board, but let me start with schools, because I know more about schools. With schools, they're into this all the time, fundraisers, right? And so they are actually kind of used to someone coming to them and saying 10 to 15%. That's kind of normal. I used to go to them and say 20%, and they were going, really? 20%? Wow. And I didn't find a big problem with that, because you can always adjust the price up, even 25%, and let people know that 25% of their purchase is going back to the school. And if you're printing those themselves, generally have enough margin in it to make a good profit for yourself and to give the
Yeah.
school or the organization in the school that much
So
money.
we've had a question come up, and I think towards the end of it you'll talk about it, but it came from Jerry, and I think what they're after here is, okay, how do I buy whatever you're selling, so to speak? And I think what you're going to say was that there is, for people that are going to I guess, learn to do the work themselves on their Shopify store. That's sort of one package, and then people who essentially want it done for them. So is
Yeah,
that,
I mean, you can, if you just want to get started simply, we can set up a store where all the products are drop shipped, okay? And, you know, you can get going with sublimation. You can't pick a better set of products to get started having a store with than sublimation products. It's got more variety, and like I said, the colors are great.
and that's for, if you're not doing the fulfillment yourself, and
Yeah.
you're gonna get someone else to do it, I guess that's really no charge.
Well, you have to pay. You just pay for the product, is what you'll do.
There's no charge to get it set. You just need a Shopify store to add it. But
Right.
most of our
Right.
clients are going to want to do some
Yeah.
amount of fulfillment.
Yeah.
And so
And
what?
you can do both.
Yeah.
If they want to do fulfillment themselves, and then you know we can put the designer. That's a different package, but we can put the designer into their existing store, and they can have that. And they can, those orders that they want to produce can come back to them. If they want to add in other products that they don't produce, then they can certainly do that by adding some drop ship products. And we offer a drop ship program, but there's a lot of drop ship programs. There's Printful, Printify, Guten. We happen to have one that has the online designer built into it, so that the customer, it can easily upload a photo and add text onto their products.
And that works on their computer and also the phone. But okay, so
Yeah.
just for focusing on people who want to do the fulfillment, what kind of money are we talking about in that case?
Well, if they have an existing store, and they could have Shopify, BigCommerce, or WooCommerce. Now, WooCommerce is WordPress. So if you know you have a WordPress site, and a lot of people do, WooCommerce is just the shopping cart you add to it, which is no cost to that either. So we can integrate into those existing sites, and we do those it's a setup. It takes us about a week to put the code in there. We charge $1,000 for that, but we also give you any Condé product we'll set up for you. We've got about a couple thousand of them already set up with David's best sellers. But David never made a product he didn't like, so he's got about 4,000 products back there in his warehouse. But we'll set up any of those for any Condé customer. That's kind of what we always do.
So what is sort of the least expensive option if they don't have a Shopify website today?
Well, then, we do build them. That's more expensive, and that takes a little more time. That's a $1,500, and it's $99 a month for the service to us to support and keep the products working and everything. But we do have a startup store that we've been tinkering with, and Dave, we've talked about this, where folks can just they can build the store themselves. It's really, if they want to spend the time to go through the instructions and do it, and we have that information that we can kind of give to them and talk to them about it. But they can go in, and it costs $29 to actually have a Shopify store on a month-to-month basis, and that's for the hosting and everything. People say, "Well, what's that for?" That's Shopify is hosting the store, and Shopify is the absolute premier platform for anybody going into this. We've done all kinds of them, and we keep coming back to Shopify because it's got so many inexpensive ways that you can add things, functionality to your store. For instance, if you decided down, a year from now, after you had your store, that you wanted to add loyalty points, for instance, a lot of people will go call up a developer and they'll spend a lot of money, and sometimes after a year, I mean, I have people tell me they spent $10,000 and they got a store and it doesn't work right, and can I help? Well, yeah, they shouldn't have done that. And then the other thing they find out is that they didn't own the domain name. Let me, as an aside here, let me just say, if you're working with any developer, everyone, please make sure that you own three things. Number one is the domain name for your store. You should buy it GoDaddy or someplace like that. GoDaddy is good. But also number two is the hosting account. Shopify or BigCommerce, that they're hosting that store. WordPress does, but you're going to host it yourself. But you need to make sure you own those two things. But and the third thing, of course, is if you're e-commerce, is where the money goes, the bank account. So there's three things you need to make sure you own. Because I promise you, if you, a lot of developers will take your money and you work with them 6 months and they're not getting where you need to be, spend a lot of money, and then you say, well, I'm not going to work with you, I'm just going to let somebody else do it, and you find out you don't own one of those three things. The domain name you can't get, or you can't get the hosting account back, and it's a nightmare.
Okay,
So
that's
please
good
avoid
advice.
that.
So they have to pay for the Shopify store, which is low price. And that includes the checkout and all that kind of good stuff. Then they need to pay to get your online designer module installed, and then you got to set up.
If they want to
the
print
products.
themselves, if they want us to personalize it and print themselves, then that's what they'll need to do. Yes.
Okay.
If they don't want to print themselves starting off, and they don't have to, just to start off, they can just drop ship products. I thought I had that turned off. Sorry about that. If they want to just drop ship some products, and they can easily do that, and I'll show you that here real quick. There's an app. Here's our app that we have. This is the difference between a plug-in and an integration. This is a plug-in. So we have a lot of Condé products in here. These are products that people can put in to their store and add it. They can mark it up, and these will all be drop shipped for you. Okay, you got license plates in here, David. I think some of these are yours, and we let you come in here, and we let you set up what we call a standard print-on-demand product, which should be about half your business, which is just where there's no designer, actually, where you're just letting you as the merchant are putting a design or an image on there, and that's it. So they see it and they buy it. And then the second kind of product is a pre-designed personalizable product where the customers can come in, and actually it's better to look here, where the customers can come in on a pre-designed product and upload a photo or a text. Okay, standard print on demand, the customer buys as is. And then the third kind is a fully customizable, where the merchant doesn't really do anything. They just are giving the customer a blank product. Now, the reality is that a blank product, we get about 5% of our orders are blank, or like that. And this information is based on part of the network I'm in globally that did about 2 million orders last November. About 5% was where customer was seeing a blank product. About 45%, however, were pre-designed personalizable products where a merchant had a design. Maybe it's a chevron with a monogram that they allow the customer to put a letter in, or it's a pet bowl where they want to allow the customer to put the name of their pet on the bowl. And they have a nice little graphic there. Those are pre-designed. And so merchants work on these two, but all of the products in here that they can drop ship are products that can be set up those three ways. And we even have some products like canvas prints, cheese boards. These are pretty cool. Coasters. Again, a lot of realtors like these kind of products.
So, Vic, let's make sure everybody's clear. So, there's two strategies to jump into to this and make money. Number one would be if you, for this purpose of this market, you're not going to do the fulfillment.
Right.
And you would have a Shopify store, you would install the free Tsunami app and set it up, and then you can start selling products that would be fulfilled right away.
Immediately.
And I take it
Yeah.
you can add products to your store that already have like a foundations logo
Yeah.
on it and all that kind of stuff.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And so, yeah, we, this is,
So that's Tsunami, which is a plug-in app
Yeah.
that you install into your Shopify store. Number two would be the
Full
designer that would be for folks that wish to do their own fulfillment, and they have the option to add products that would be fulfilled through the Tsunami network. Is that correct?
yes, sir. And here's,
So,
yeah.
go ahead.
Well, here's a good friend, Teresa Martin, who does her dominoes. And so she has a mix of products in here. A lot come from Condé, where that she prints these dominoes, but she also has dropship products. So, she thinks that she may not have a big enough printer to do some floor mats or something like that. And so we can send those through. And David, you have what, 53 products, I think, is what we have in the system right now for you and the drop ship section. So, it's going to get good quality work done when that happens. You ought to, if you're on the sideline, you're hesitant about getting into the business, spending a bunch of money, that's the way you can get started and start learning to sell and making sure you can do it. And then later, when you want to make more margin, and you will make more margin when you start to print, you can make a lot more margin. You probably make 35 to 40% by drop shipping. What depends on the product, maybe a little bit more. But when you're printing yourself, you should be able to make another 20 or 25 or 30% on there.
Okay. So just, I know we're starting to run out of time. So
Yes, sir.
just focusing on what our clients can do next is we're setting up the Facebook forum on our Facebook page for iPersonalyze, so you can start learning. So as far as steps is continue to learn. Do you have a website that they can go to that is your demo store? Is this the one right here?
Yeah, sure do. It's best place to go is just to iPersonalyze.com, and you can go up here to see our stores.
Okay.
And this tells you what we do. What we basically do is online product personalization. We deliver it two ways: one by integrating into existing stores or building a new Shopify store, or by drop shipping.
Right.
But here's some demo stores here. These stores that we built for other folks. Here's one we did with signage and so forth.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of them in here. Yeah.
If you're not selling online at this point in time, then you're obviously not maximizing your reach to your clients. And let's face it, this is what in the we'll call it post-COVID market. People want to be able to do things, from their home, and they want to make do it easily. So obviously it makes a lot of sense for people to figure out what their online strategy is going to be. And so if you want the full designer, obviously that's going to take some money to get it, but over really medium, it's gonna pay back if you're bringing traffic to your
Right.
store.
And you want to make sure your products, you have products that sell, and you have a niche market. And because we don't want you to buy a store and find out it's not doing anything. We want you to have a store that people are coming to. So the marketing though is you need to start it local. You need to go out there, bring people to it. There's lots of strategies for marketing e-commerce. and it changes. The best ones change every 6 months. So it's kind of a moving
But
target.
I think, to me, the best strategy is to have these on your Shopify store, to have it where they can you push them into a section of it that is for their
Yes.
organization, is for their pet groomer, it's for their rescue shelter, fundraising, and then they can buy, we'll call it semi-custom merchandise right there with just a few clicks.
Yeah.
To me, that is the right strategy. And this can be, of course, an adjunct to whatever strategy you have. But again, it's just in today's world, having an online presence is just necessary. If you'll go back and look at some of the webinars that Craig and I have done, Craig Mertens, this is just repeating it over and over again, how important. Now, the best strategy is sort of, we'll call it a hybrid. You've got to be in control of the artwork for these organizations. So you've got to have great artwork. And that's where people like Craig Mertens come in,
Yeah.
because they're going to
Yes.
help you with that customizable artwork. But then you can drop it into the iPersonalyze designer, and so show it on the store. It could be general merchandise for a school. It could be merchandise that's tailored for an event coming up. And guess what? You can change it as you go along.
Yeah, that's a great thing about no inventory, is that you can change for seasonality. And that's a big advantage to the way we used to do it with inventory stuff. A big advantage.
Yeah. Well, I know we're starting to run out of time here. What's sort of the best way for people to, if they go to the website, what's the best people if they want to call you and talk and try to understand
they can,
things better?
I don't, I'm happy to talk anytime. If they go to iPersonalyze, they can schedule a demo time with me and look at my schedule. Just click here, and you go right here. You can just call me if you want to, and we'll set something up, or you can go ahead and just schedule something and right on my calendar. And I'll have more times next week. But happy to do that anytime. And I love to work with people and to talk about their business and what they're trying to do. It's kind of a fault of mine. I probably talk too much with them, but I'll spend a good hour with you, and we'll try to figure out. If you want to pick my brain, I'll be glad to tell you anything I know. It might be slim pickings, but I'll tell you anything I know. So.
Well, and I think we've got a number of Condé clients that have been successful with your program. You mentioned one of them, Teresa Martin.
Yeah, she's been with us since 2014.
Just a great gal. And I would say the people that have signed up that haven't done well, for the most part, they're folks that certainly had, a good idea, a good plan. But if you're not bringing traffic
right
to the website through what we've already talked about, then you're not going to get orders, and it's not going to work out. So that's really the challenge for folks, is that just like sublimation is a process, this is basically an adjunct to the process to get those orders placed, and then you're going to be the mechanism for fulfillment, or you're going to be sending those to somebody to have them fulfilled. I think what the iPersonalyze can do for you is that it can allow you to build these personalized, templated merchandise, so that it becomes a no-brainer for people to buy them. I can, if we haven't already, we need to go ahead and add the new pet clothes, Vic, to your offering, because think about how pet clothes can sell. I mean, just tremendous. Could be part of, the pet shelter, could be part of, for instance, we have our dog park that is always needing money. And so you have some some really great opportunities to cash in on folks that, maybe have a passion for particular organizations, particular markets, particular, hobbies. Another thing is, you've got, you look at so many people that are now doing YouTube or podcast or whatever, why not reach out to them for fan merchandise?
Yeah, and influencers is a good way. If you know somebody who's an influencer,
so
they can recommend you. That's a good way to go too.
So I'm a big Elon Musk fan, and what a wild card, right?
Yeah.
And so you think about everything from electric cars to solar to Neuralink to SpaceX, all this kind of stuff. Well, if you think about all the passions people have, tap into them. And again, the trick is to get traffic going back to your store. So we want to thank everybody for being part of our broadcast today. This is one of those kinds of things we could spend just a lot more time on it. But bottom line is, this is a great model because it really keys off what I think is sublimation's most powerful element, and that is it's like having a virtual store, meaning that the products are blank until you decorate them. And you just need to start thinking about what do people want to buy from an artwork point of view, from a market point of view, and figure out how to communicate, what you want to do, what products you want to sell. And because it's a big world out there, a lot of people have the same passions as you, and they want to buy products like that.
That's right. That's right. David, thanks for having me on.
Okay. All right. Well, we thank everybody, and we'll put in the show notes here your website.
I'm available anytime. Happy to chat with anyone. Anytime.
We're going to start building out your forum. But again, it's just another opportunity that I think it deserves some studying consideration. But everybody needs that online strategy.
Yes,
well,
sir.
Vic, I want to thank everybody, and you take care.
Thank you, sir. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.